Hey everybody, I need you to stop everything for just a few minutes because what I'm about to share could literally save your garden, your crops, your home, and maybe even help a neighbor get through the next couple of nights. There are millions of people across this country right now who are totally caught off guard, and I'm talking about the farmers who already have their fields planted, the backyard gardeners who figured winter was long gone, the families who packed away their heavy coats weeks ago, and the homeowners who finally relaxed thinking spring had won. The calendar says late May, we should be way past any chance of frost, easing into those warm summer days everyone's been waiting for. But that's exactly why this next hit is so dangerous. When we all let our guard down and assume the cold is finished, that's when it sneaks back in and strikes the hardest. A serious frost event is barreling toward the central and eastern United States, and temperatures are about to drop fast enough to threaten everything that's already growing. Picture this for a second. Crops that farmers counted on are sitting in the soil right now, fruit trees have been blooming for weeks, berry patches are full of tender new growth, and orchards that looked so promising are wide open and completely unprotected. This isn't some light chill that might nip a few leaves. This is the kind of cold that can wipe out a whole season's work in a single night if we don't act. So I'm walking you through every detail you need, from what's causing it to exactly what's coming night by night, and most importantly, what you can do right now before the sun goes down to protect what matters to you. The reason this is even happening in late May goes all the way back to something that started early this year. At the beginning of 2026, we had a sudden stratospheric warming event that messed with the polar vortex, that giant swirling pool of freezing Arctic air that usually stays locked up over the North Pole. Once that vortex got disrupted, the cold air didn't stay put. It started spilling south in big waves, and we felt it hard through January and February with some of the most intense cold outbreaks in years. Places like Chicago dropped to 11 degrees, Watertown in New York hit minus 34. Grand Rapids in Michigan reached minus 19, which was the coldest reading there since 1994. Lake Erie froze over almost completely at 96%, and even Tallahassee in Florida saw 20 degrees. That whole stretch caused around $4 billion in damage across North America. But here's what most folks don't realize. That kind of disruption doesn't just happen once and disappear. It sets up a long-term atmospheric traffic jam that keeps sending pulse after pulse of cold Canadian air down into the Midwest and Northeast all spring long. We're still dealing with the leftovers right now. Long-range experts have been saying May is shaping up to be one of the 10th to 30th coldest Mays on record for huge parts of the Midwest through the Northeast. Not the absolute coldest ever, but cold enough and timed just wrong enough to be incredibly risky because everyone already switched their mindset to summer. On top of that, the early part of spring actually turned warm in a lot of spots, almost too warm, and that tricked plants into breaking out of dormancy way ahead of schedule. Trees and bushes started budding and leafing out weeks before normal. That means all that new growth lost its natural winter toughness early. It's soft, it's exposed, and now this fresh blast of cold is heading straight for it. This isn't a minor frost advisory we're talking about. Some areas are looking at a hard freeze, and the damage potential for agriculture is massive. Farmers have loans out, seeds in the ground, and entire seasons riding on these fields. A single night like this can take everything away. Right now, the upper level pattern is setting up in a way that's really dramatic. There's a strong trough digging down over the Rockies, pulling that surge of cold air from Canada straight through the northern plains and shoving it south and east across the Midwest and into the Northeast. At the same time, there's this big ridge of high pressure sitting over the eastern part of the country that's been feeding an early heat wave. People in coastal and eastern cities have been enjoying 70s and 80s, even near record highs, running air conditioning and wearing shorts like summer already showed up. Then, this cold front is going to race through fast and the temperature swing is going to be brutal. We're talking highs in the 70s or 80s one day, dropping to lows in the 20s and 30s the next night. That's a 40, 45, even 50-degree crash in less than 2 days in some places. It's not just uncomfortable, it's devastating for anything that came out of dormancy already. Models are even showing some late-season snow possible in the higher elevations of Colorado and Wyoming above 6,000 feet, all part of the same Arctic air package crashing southward. The National Weather Service offices across the plains have been busy issuing alerts all spring, and this next push is about to widen the impact zone again. Let's talk about tonight first, because the most dangerous hours are the overnight ones when you're sleeping in your garden or pipes are sitting there with no one watching. Behind this front, skies are going to clear out across a wide area from Nebraska down through Kansas. Clear skies, light winds, and that cold air mass create perfect conditions for rapid cooling right at ground level. Temperatures at the surface can drop way lower than what the official readings suggest. In parts of southwest Kansas, for example, we're looking at lows falling into the mid-20s to mid-30s. That's hard freeze territory. Nebraska has already seen record daily lows broken earlier this month, like 21 degrees in Chadron and 22 in Alliance on May 6th. Tonight, those same kinds of conditions are returning. Places like Scottsbluff, Alliance, Chadron, Valentine, North Platte, Grand Island, Hastings, Kearney, and Norfolk in Nebraska are all in the bullseye. Over in Kansas, Dodge City, Liberal, Garden City, Colby, Hayes, Salina, Great Bend, and Norton need to pay close attention. Wyoming and Colorado communities, including Cheyenne, Laramie, Pueblo, Colorado Springs, and Sterling, are watching sub-freezing readings. South Dakota spots like Rapid City, Pierre, Aberdeen, and Huron, plus western and northern Minnesota around Sioux Falls, Worthington, Mankato, Wilmar, and Alexandria could see upper 20s. The hardest hits will be in rural farmland away from big lakes or cities that normally moderate the cold. That's a huge amount of cropland sitting exposed. I want to take a minute to talk straight about what this means for the bigger picture, because sometimes forecasts make frost sound like just a backyard inconvenience. This is about our food supply. Farmers and their families have everything on the line. Going into this year, winter wheat was already rated really low in some states, like only 21% good to excellent in Colorado on top of drought worries. Corn planting was only 12% done nationally early in May, soybeans at 8%, so a lot of fields were still in that fragile early emergence stage where even a short freeze at 28 or 29 degrees can wipe out whole acres. Replanting late shortens the growing season and slashes yields. Fruit crops are in even tougher shape. Earlier April frosts already damaged blooming trees and berry bushes across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes apple country, upstate New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and vineyards in the Missouri and Ohio valleys. The first 4 months of 2026 brought ice storms, the worst deep south freeze in Florida since 2010 that cut sugarcane by 8% and hurt citrus, blueberries, and strawberries, plus nearly 18 million acres burned in wildfires, almost double the 10-year average. Now this late season freeze is threatening whatever survived. If you work the land, I see you. This season has been one punch after another, but you still have time before dark to get row covers ready, turn on frost protection if you have it, move potted plants inside, and focus first on your most valuable seedlings and highest priority crops. Now, the second night of this event actually worries me more, and meteorologists have seen this pattern play out all spring. The first night, the ground still holds a little leftover warmth from the previous warm days, acting like a small buffer. But by the second night, that soil has cooled off completely under the cold air mass. When high pressure builds firmly overhead and skies stay clear again, you get maximum radiational cooling. That's when the lowest temperatures really bottom out. The cold dome is going to spread eastward into the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, interior Northeast, and parts of the Mid-Atlantic. States like Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, and West Virginia already took hits in April, and their orchards and berry fields are still in active growth. Freeze warnings have already gone out in places like the St. Lawrence Valley, Mohawk Valley, and parts of Vermont earlier this month, with lows between 29 and 32. In Ohio, counties like Ashtabula, Trumbull, and Mahoning, they saw 30 degrees on May 11th. West Virginia's higher elevations in Pocahontas and Randolph counties dropped to 31. Michigan counties from Mason to Isabella were under warnings too. For this second night, keep an eye on Cleveland, Youngstown, Warren, Niles, and Ashtabula in Ohio, Erie, Meadville, Titusville, Corry, and Union City in Pennsylvania, Watertown, Massena, Ogdensburg, Potsdam, Gouverneur, and Lowville in northern New York, Stowe, Montpelier, Burlington, Ripton, and Waitsfield in Vermont, Snowshoe, Harmon, and Elkins in West Virginia, Fort Wayne, Elkhart, South Bend, and Kokomo in Indiana, and Grand Rapids, Traverse City, Cadillac, Big Rapids, and Mount Pleasant in Michigan. Rural areas away from water will feel it worst. Here's what you can do right now, today, before sunset, because preparation beats panic every time. For your outdoor garden, cover those tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, basil, and beans with frost cloth, old sheets, or burlap. Make sure the covers reach all the way to the ground on every side so they trap the soil's warmth rising up. That's what actually protects the plants. Weigh the edges down so wind doesn't blow them off. For pipes, disconnect every garden hose from outdoor spigots and cover the faucets with foam insulators. If you have water lines in crawl spaces or unheated garages, let a slow drip run from an indoor faucet to keep water moving. A burst pipe in late May still floods your house just the same. Livestock and pets need attention too. Young calves, lambs, kids, foals, or any spring-born animals should be brought into shelter. House dogs and cats, even thick-coated ones, belong inside when it drops into the 20s. If you spot a stray or a neighbor's pet outside, bring it in. That could save a life. For fruit trees and berry bushes, drape frost cloth loosely or run sprinklers overnight if you can, so a thin layer of ice forms and holds the buds right at 32 degrees instead of letting them go lower. Run your furnace tonight even if you thought heating season was over. Get the house comfortable ahead of time. And please check on elderly neighbors or anyone on a fixed income who might be hesitant to turn the heat back on. A person can get hypothermic indoors when outside temps crash like this. Zooming out, this frost isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a wild 2026 weather story that's been exhausting and damaging from the start. We began the year with that polar vortex collapse, bringing -34 in New York, -24 in Flint, Michigan, -42 in parts of Minnesota, and even 20 degrees in Tallahassee. That alone caused $4 billion in damage and at least 22 deaths. February brought the worst deep south freeze in Florida since 2010. Then came massive wildfires burning almost 18 million acres by late April, double the average, fueled by dry conditions from those extremes. April also saw huge tornado outbreaks with 85 confirmed twisters in one day, including EF3 and EF4 storms that flattened homes. Through it all, wave after wave of cold never really let go. May is still running unusually chilly because of that early year disruption, and rare late May frosts have shown up in the forecast area before, so we're in that window right now. The people hurting most aren't just headlines, they're the families who replanted after April, the ranchers who lost young stock, the gardeners who've covered plants twice already. This season has been relentless, but the least we can do is stay informed and look out for each other. The good news is this danger window isn't forever. Longer range models and the Weather Prediction Center are showing a strong ridge building over the east central United States that will bring a solid warm-up for the back half of May and into June. Temperatures should rebound, the growing season can get back on track for most of you, and the frost freeze concerns are likely to end after this event passes. Get through tonight and tomorrow night, maybe a third night, in the coldest interior spots, and warmer air is on the way. Let me bring it all together one last time so it's crystal clear. Tonight and tomorrow morning, the hardest freeze is across Nebraska, Kansas, Wyoming, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Colorado, with lows in the mid-20s to low 30s in the coldest rural spots under clear skies. Tomorrow night through the following morning, the threat slides east into Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, West Virginia, and the Great Lakes region. All the same protection steps apply: cover gardens properly, protect pipes and faucets, shelter animals, check on vulnerable people. Corn, soybeans, fruit trees, orchards, berries, and vineyards are all at real risk after everything this spring has already thrown at them. Farmers, use whatever you have: row covers, irrigation, prioritization. The window closes at sunset. I'll keep you updated as this evolves and new advisories come out, because that's what we do. We gather the facts, make a plan, and move. Before I wrap up, I just want to share something that keeps me grounded every time I track these wild patterns. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." You don't have to figure out every cold wave or have all the answers. Just do what you can with what you have one night at a time, and trust that the same God who sets the ocean's boundaries also holds the air above your garden. All glory goes to God, our Father in heaven. I pray he keeps every one of you safe through tonight, through this frost, through the whole season, and every day after. Amen. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. This information really could protect your garden, your crops, your pipes, and someone else's too. Please share it with anyone who needs it. Hit the like button if it helped, subscribe so you don't miss updates, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay warm, stay prepared, and above all, look out for each other. Have a blessed day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.